Moti.
Source of influencers.
Where did you gain so much knowledge about gaining muscle?
I mean, I have a degree in exercise science and dietetics, so I mean, I know it, and I mean, just kind of over the years after I left my job in physical therapy, I just kind of went back to school, kind of got some more, just get some more knowledge, and then the people that I have around me, like I have my coach now is a 2-time Olympian. I have another coach that does strictly all my nutrition, so a lot of it is just having some good people around you that I can kind of refer to if I have questions, and who's kind of been guiding me along the way. And I mean, I have some of the knowledge myself too, and some of it honestly is trial and error. Like I've had plenty of shows where I'm like, oh, okay, let's do this. Oh, that didn't work at all. You know, like you didn't peak in time, or 2 days after the show you look fantastic, like you look stage ready 2 days later and it's like, so sometimes honestly it is trial and error. You try certain stuff, okay, we carved up correctly or we didn't carb up correctly, too much water, too little water. So yeah, there's been quite a few times where I'm like, oh yeah, that didn't work, so don't do that again. So yeah, you're your own little science project. I say sometimes, you have to try certain things out and see what works, what doesn't work. I mean, I feel like at this point now, 8-9 years into it, I know my body pretty well. I know kind of what I can get away with. I know what foods my body likes doing prep, how much cardio I need to stay lean or get lean. So like I'm at a good spot right now where I've learned my body over the years. After all the shows and after all the different tweaks and things, I feel like I have a pretty good handle on what my body needs and how it'll respond to certain things.
So what works best for you?
I do a high protein, high fat diet for the most part. So I think even today, like my first meal was like 6 ounces of chicken and 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. So it's like kind of a random combination, but it works. I do a lot of cardio, unfortunately. I mean, my body just, for me to burn off a lot of my fat, like lower body wise, takes an extra couple weeks. My lower half, and I just say it's like black girl problems. I have my butt and all that stuff just takes a while to drop down. Like that's the last part to respond. But yeah, I mean, I do a pretty high fat diet, avocados, peanut butter, all that stuff pretty much stays in the duration of prep. Most people can't do it. I don't think it's high of a fat, but it works, and my body responds to it pretty well. So,
how much protein do you take in a day, and how much fat?
2 tablespoons of peanut butter, like twice a day. Protein, I'm doing about 30 grams of protein a meal. So usually I do about 6 or 7 meals a day. So, and I'll do the fats at about 3 or 4 of my meals. So I'll keep that in. I mean, it's pretty high. I'm not someone that necessarily counts. I'm not like a calorie counter. I don't necessarily do a lot of macros. I used to early on in like my competing career, but I feel like now I'm like, okay, at this point, chicken breast is chicken breast is chicken breast. Like 6 ounces of chicken breast, that's a given. That's pretty standard. So I don't necessarily have to. I'm not like over the top like with calculations and stuff like that anymore. I used to when I first started, but now I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do the tablespoon of peanut butter. I'm gonna do some avocados. I'm gonna keep like almonds or cashews in there. Like all that stuff stays in the rotation for me the entire prep. So yeah, I don't have to like keep exact numbers anymore. So, but the protein is pretty high. It's always a stand of about 30 grams.
And what about carbs?
My carbs are always, I do keep the carbs fairly low. What I do is we'll do kind of what we call like a refeed, and I might carb load one day, depending on how my body's looking. If I'm a little flat, me and my coach actually checks in with me. My nutritionist, he checks in with me every single day of prep. I've never had someone check in every single day. Like I do photos every morning, every single day leading into any show. So we'll start prep. I mean, it gets nerve-wracking after a while because I have to check in every day. I send videos and photos every single morning. And then if I'm looking a little flat, or if I haven't had carbs in 3 or 4 days, then I might do like a bagel or something. So it's not like a set carb amount. I won't necessarily do just rice or oatmeal. I'll have a bagel, or I'll go out and have some sushi or something like that. So it's interesting though. So like I might not have carbs for a few days, and then he's like, you know what do you want to eat? I don't know, I want sushi. Okay, go have sushi, and then we'll have that, and that kind of fills me back out, and that kind of holds me for usually like 3 or 4 days. But we mix it up. It's never a set thing. It's kind of whatever I have a craving for, we'll get that as my carb, and then I'm good for a few more days. So that's kind of been new. That's probably the one thing that's been new this year. We're like, okay, you don't have to do 2 cups of rice. You don't have to do this. And it's like, no, what do you want? Bagel. Okay, you want a hamburger? Okay, let's go have a burger today. So want fries? Fries it is. So I might do that like maybe once a week or twice a week, just depending on, where we're at and how many weeks out we are too.
So your diet sounds pretty easy.
It's, it's easy to stick to. I feel like that's what makes it doable. I don't mind doing the chicken breast. I'm like, okay, I can do this for the next 3 days. I know I'm gonna get a bagel on Friday or something like that. So it makes it a lot easier to stick to, and it almost doesn't feel like a diet kind of. I mean, I've had times where previous coaches were like, okay, you're eating tilapia for your next 4 meals. Well, no one wants to eat tilapia for the next 4 meals for the next 2 weeks. Like, that's not easy. You know what I mean? It's just not, it's not something you're going to stick to. And even as a competitor, if you can find a way to make it manageable and be able to go. That's why I think I've been able to be as productive, especially this year. I mean, this is the 5th show for me this year. So, after a while that dieting, you're like, it gets harder and harder to diet for each show. So like right now, I feel like we came to a good conclusion. We're in a good spot, and the diet has been pretty easy to stick to, and I've gotten leaner and leaner every show that I've done since the first show this year. So, yeah. But yeah, I can't even complain about the diet at this point. I'm like, it is what it is. So, and I'm not like, oh, like I said, it's not like, oh, I have to eat, tilapia, which is a go-to. It's not like tilapia and asparagus every day, all day, that. So we found a good medium. I get some beef in there, I get turkey, I get chicken. Like I get a nice little mix in there too, so I feel pretty good. I'm gonna have a burger tonight, as a matter of fact, which is what I'm looking forward to.
For a show, you also eat burgers?
Oh yeah, because we're on stage tomorrow, so I'll do I'll actually do a burger and fries and some type of dessert tonight too. So probably some carrot cake and yeah, just kind of, I know this is great. This is letting him fill out, so this is like the highlight now. It's like, okay, go eat. So yeah, and fill us out for tomorrow. So.
And what about salt? You have to.
We do salt manipulation. I am not doing any salt right now. Like whatever I have tonight will be the salt that we get, and that should carry me over till tomorrow. And I should fill out pretty well tomorrow. I'm still a little bit flat right now, so I'll fill out tomorrow with the burger and the fries and then the dessert. We usually about 10 days out. We'll add in a bunch of salt, and I'll put salt on like every meal, pretty much just salt everything, and then we cut it as we get closer to the show. But we start that about 10 days out, like purposely salting every single meal. So yeah, it's interesting. It's been an interesting process, but yeah, it's working, so I can't really complain too much.
Would you add salt or just
I
morning you
literally
had
add
peanut,
salt.
you had
Add
peanut
salt.
butter, right?
I get the peanut butter.
And it's also salty, right?
There's salt in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's funny because I will, but I'm also drinking like a lot of water. So as we're increasing the salt, I'm also increasing my water. I just cut water today, but I had been up to, I get up to about 3 gallons of water, which is insane, but like we're getting about 2.5, 3 gallons of water as a standard for like leading up to the show with the salt. So, but it keeps kind of flushing everything out, and then like today, we just cut water. So.
What do you mean you cut water? No water at all?
No, I'm doing sips now. Like I had a gallon this morning, and I probably won't even finish it today. So I'll be completely done with water tonight by 8, and then we'll be done altogether until tomorrow. Will just be sips until the show time.
Only sips.
Yes, we hit 3 gallons of water, and then we kind of slowly taper that off. So today was like, I get 1 gallon today, and I'll just do a little bit more, just kind of sips just tonight with my food and stuff, and then that'll be about it. So, yeah, but it's working.
What about, do you use any supplements? But you take your protein also from protein shakes or basically from food?
From food. It's from food now. Yeah, I do. I only do protein shakes typically. Definitely I like my protein shakes. I do those more so in the off season, or no more than we usually cut those out right around 6 to 8 weeks, and then it's just pretty much all food. So yeah.
But why would you cut off protein shakes?
With the sodium, and they tend to leave me a little bit bloated too, as we're really starting to get into like that 6 to 8 week mark is usually just kind of the cutoff time for those. That's always been the case for me. I like them more so in my off season. They're quick, and I'll usually do 2 in the off season, and then once we start the season back, it drops down to 1, and then once we get to around 6 or 8 weeks, we just cut them all together, and then just pretty much relying on regular food and having my body just burn through the food and using the food for energy more so. So.
What about protein isolate? Did it also make you bloated?
You know what? I have a couple different proteins that I use, but I do notice that as we get closer and closer to the show, and I don't necessarily know if it's that I just get tired of them at a point or what, but I do notice that I do respond better to the food. I feel like having the food and having my body be able to really, have to burn through the food just seems to work a little bit better as I'm getting closer and closer to showtime. So, yeah. And then so now they're out completely, and then I'll probably bring them back after the show's done and my season is completely done this year. I'll work them back in. Just something that's quick to get in some extra protein so I can, get some more size, some more weight. It helps push my weight up too. So now it'll be after the show, I'll be able to push my weight back up again and kind of get ready to go into the off season. I mean, my off season weight is usually about 25 pounds heavier in off season. So I usually hit about 175, 180 off season. Then we'll diet that back down to about somewhere between 150, 155 usually for contest. So, yeah.
And I have this question about BCAA intake. Mm-hmm. Do you take any BCAAs?
I do BCAAs with my fasted cardio.
And then this is my question. What do people need? Do they need a 2-on-1 ratio, a 4-on-1 ratio, an 8-on-1 ratio, or something else?
I think everyone's a little bit different, and I think it depends on where you're at in your career, or as far as an athlete. If you're just someone that's starting out, it's just standard 2-to-1. I mean, whatever, just kind of a basic to when you're starting out. And I think it just kind of depends on your body type too. For me, I do my BCAAs strictly just with my fasted cardio, just to help preserve as much muscle as possible. I mean, I do a lot of cardio, so. But I feel like everyone's kind of different. But for the most part, I feel like the BCAAs, as long as you're taking them, I have a couple of my clients too. I prefer I have them same thing. Take it with your fasted cardio. If they have fasted cardio in their program, I just have them do BCAAs with that. I want you to get leaner, but I don't want to sacrifice muscle at the same time. So
you only think they're needed for the fasted cardio, otherwise you don't need them?
It's I think that's when you need it the most. I mean, if you're depending on again what your program is and what your goal is. BCAAs you can take whenever. I mean, I have a BCAA glutamine combo that I like. And there's different ones. I have a client that he does a combination. It's BCAAs, glutamine, and creatine blend as well, just because we want to get them leaner. We want to add a little bit more size on them too. So for me, with my clients especially, it really depends on where they're at in their program. So if I think you need more BCAAs, if you're not doing fasted cardio, we might just do them, post-workout with some glutamine or something. I'm definitely always do glutamine just for recovery and stuff too. So it depends on which client and kind of what we have going on and what the goal is. So, and their body type really determines how much you need or if you need them at all. Some people don't. It's not necessarily something that you have to take, but I mean, I find for me it's beneficial. Just because when I start to diet, I will lose muscle. So anything I can do to help preserve that, we do.
What is more important, BCAA or glutamine?
Probably glutamine. I would say glutamine, just with the muscle soreness and things like that, and for recovery especially. I mean, I'm working out 3-4 hours a day, so anything that I can have for recovery. But like I said, for the most part, again, I do them both. Just because they both have their place. So I don't know if one is necessarily more important than the other. You kind of need them both, and again, depending on what your program is and what your goal is. For me, I know I need them both. So it comes down to the timing or when I'm going to take them. The BCAAs I know I need mostly in the morning because I'm doing an hour of fasted cardio every day. So, yeah.
Follow the Moti on Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat.